Freddy vs Jason 2003. When I first watched this many years ago, I hated it. I really thought it was terrible. I thought the pacing was way too fast to the point in which all the reaction shots of the characters had been cut out, and so no one ever reacted to anything. Everyone just kind of shrugged and went on, and it was just way too fast. I remember that, and it was way too convoluted with all this story you had to kind of get up to speed on. It was overly complicated, and my assumption was I hadn't seen an Elm Street movie in a very long time, and I couldn't remember all the details, and I assumed that this plugged into a lot of Elm Street continuity, and I simply didn't know the continuity, and so all this overcomplicated nonsense was going on, and I couldn't quite follow precisely what was happening. It turns out, having now seen the Elm Street movies, that there was no complicated continuity. A lot of the complicated, convoluted stuff that was added in this movie is totally original and does not connect to the Elm Street series. All the stuff about the children being put into a psychiatric hospital and put on drugs that suppress dreams has no connection. This has never been mentioned ever before in the previous movies. This is an invention of this film. So, anyway, I have tried to watch the movie at least twice, and I have given up within 15 minutes because I just truly hate the movie. I think it's an unwatchable mess. Just garbage and badly made. Just, I really hate it with a vengeance. Okay, but here's the thing. I have come to it always from the Friday the 13th point of view. That is the franchise I know. I have seen the movies and within recent enough memory, etc. And I just think Jason's the more interesting character. That's the character I connect with more than Freddy. So now I thought to myself, okay, I've now watched all the Elm Street movies for the first time in a very long time. So now if I come to Freddy vs Jason and I look at it from the Elm Street point of view rather than the Friday the 13th point of view, maybe the movie might make more sense and be less annoying and just a better movie. And that actually does seem to be the case. I'm now watching it as part of the Elm Street series and pretty much completely ignoring the Friday the 13th connection. And as a Elm Street movie, it makes sense and it does fit that continuity much better than the Friday the 13th continuity. Freddy Krueger is the more interesting character. There's a lot more that he does. Ability to talk adds so much to a character. There's really only so much Jason can do. And watching this movie, Jason comes across as a very boring character. There's really nothing to him apart from some cool iconography. So I don't know if now I've not seen a Friday the 13th movie in a few years, but I don't know if it's that Jason actually is just a banal who cares character, or they just really misused him in this movie. They recast the actor as who plays Jason. It was Kane Hodder for 4 movies, and I do wonder a wee bit if the replacement stuntman they used just really didn't deliver much of a performance. I don't know. But anyway, in this movie, Jason came across as a boring who cares character, and Freddy Krueger was certainly the more appealing character. So anyway, the movie fitted the Elm Street chronology and all the rest of it a lot better, and the movie was bearable. It was okay. It was, the CGI is a little bit fake looking. It's a very dated looking movie from a computer generated special effects point of view. The blood is very, very fake looking. Um, I was mildly entertained. It held my attention and it was perfectly watchable but it was certainly not a good movie or a particularly satisfying movie. I mean, basically, they made the most banal version of this movie. Freddy vs. Jason, the most generic version we could come up with, and the movie is just very underwhelming. I really can't say that I was impressed by it. I mean, it plays out okay. The movie's certainly not some total disaster like I originally thought. Although, from the Friday the 13th point of view, I really do think it's not very good. I don't think there's a lot to say about it because the movie has no real substance. Is it satisfying? Not really. It turns into a bit of a WWE wrestling fight at the end, and it's all just. There's no real story there. The human characters are not very interesting. The plot doesn't really amount to a whole heck of a lot. It's watchable, but I don't think the ending's half as satisfying as it should be, and I just don't think the movie itself is of any real note. It was competent, the pace was fast, but I do think the reaction shots are in there. It's not as annoyingly fast as I remember it to be. I would give the film 4 out of 10, but I do think Jason is underserved. He was given not much of interest to do, but then again, Freddy Krueger was also famously underserved because he never actually killed a single person on screen.